morning. It is 5:43 a.m. Monday morning, and I had to get up even before 4 o'clock this morning. We have a project going on at work, and it's kind of the ironic thing is, to tell you what kind of small world it is, a buddy of mine, Eric Smith, owns a prep company. That what they do is they do shop blasting and grinding, and you wouldn't, I think on the outside, a lot of people wouldn't think there was a lot of business for that, but I'll give you an idea. Nashville, the show that is just now shutting down production, they had them come into their warehouse. I don't remember what the square footage was, but Eric's company grinded that floor so it could be prepped for whatever that studio is going to become next. So, and Eric stays really busy. He's done work for us at work now, and when I worked at TPAC as well. Anyway, the whole irony behind the story is, back in the 90s when I was up and coming, a budding young power lifter, Eric was my first sponsor, if you will. He helped send me and my handler, Chuck Forsman, God rest his soul, to my first world meet, my first international meet. And so it's kind of one of those neat things, and the whole idea why I'm doing this video log today. So, the world is small. It pays to be kind to others, and this is where, Eric was very kind to me because he believed in what I was doing. Well, he wasn't really concerned that I win. He was concerned that I did my best, and he wanted to help put me in that position. And this guy spent hundreds of dollars at different given times, and this is, it's been almost 20 years ago. And, the world was different, money was different back then. So, it's one of those things where, things tend to come full circle, and that's what inspired this video log. As I'm leaving this morning, Grant Brace, who has trained with us since he was 10 years old, his family moved to Alcoa about 3 years ago, and Grant came to the gym as a 10-year-old to become stronger and better for wrestling. And he is signed with the Cumberlands, and I guess it would be considered northeast Kentucky, somewhere between Knoxville and Lexington. That's really the best I can tell you. And that was our goal from day one. We had a conversation. He'd been coming to the gym for about 2 or 3 weeks, and he was 10, and I explained to him that at that moment, our conversation probably wouldn't mean a whole lot to him, but that it would hold some gravity later on. And what the gist of the conversation was, the habits that you develop as a 10-year-old are likely the ones that you'll carry with you the rest of your life. These are developmental times. And so Grant learned a lot about being respectful, about discipline, and I don't mean like, foot to ass discipline. I'm just talking about the discipline of, I've got to get up, I've got to get a certain amount of things done if I want to achieve my goals type discipline. Now, he got the other discipline as well, and I think if he's honest, and he would tell you that he needed that, and the gym and the family atmosphere offered him some structure that he really needed. So he comes back from time to time and stays with us, and this summer he worked for some really, really close friends of mine and stayed with Melissa and I, and he trained and helped in the gym and helped us do some projects, and it was a really, really cool thing. So it's one of those things where I got to be at his last state high school match that he won for 3rd place in the state, podium 3 years in a row, which is really strong. Met his 2B coach at the time that was recruiting him, and then Melissa and I got to see him graduate. So, that's a big full circle thing. And this morning, as I'm leaving, today is his last day before he heads home and heads to college. Over the weekend, I went to SPF meet in Spring Hill, Tennessee, and an old buddy of mine, Frank Phillips, he will tell you that I am a mentor I'm not his only mentor, I'm sure, which is quite an honor, quite a nice thing for him to say. And I kind of quasi-coached him when he got started in the sport. He went to a meet that we ran, I want to say in 2003, at this little elementary school in Hermitage, Tennessee. And we just had barely enough equipment between what we owned and could borrow and steal to run a meet, and we had no idea what we were doing. We were just trying to make sure there were meets in the area. And Frank and a buddy of his showed up at the meet, and he introduced himself via email. And the long story short, I found out what gym he trained at, which became the meet site for several meets when I was the APA regional chair. And long story short, I gave Frank a bunch of gear. Back then we all lifted equipment. We didn't lift raw. And some of his guys, it's been handed back and forth. I don't even know where some of that stuff is anymore. Somebody's using it. And so this weekend, Frank's girlfriend, Leslie, competed in her first meet, had a great day, and it's really kind of a neat thing because he told a lot of stories, a lot of things that I had forgotten. And one of the things that he said, he came and sat down when the lifting was done, and he goes, well, I kept my end of the bargain, and I wasn't sure what he meant. And he basically told the story, and I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can, where Frank contacted me. I met him at his gym. I got him some gear to get started with. I helped him. Frank would be able to tell you this story much better than me. I think I helped him with some guidance on what and how to train. And he did his first meet the following year, had a great meet, and he continues to have a great career. And it's one of those things where if you know me and have read any of my writing or postings or any of these, one of the things that I have learned and speak about is always be mindful. Be mindful of how you act and what you say, because you don't know who's watching and who's listening, and more, the impact it may be having on them. And Grant put something in his card this morning. That said, once an ogre, always an ogre. Here's what that means. We as people are meant to be social, or meant to be. That's why we're tribal, and we group and we congregate. And my goal with the gym, of course, I wanted a place to train. I wanted to be at the winner. I wanted to be the champ. And I wanted the people that trained with us to have a place to do that and be part of that as well. And my goals have been to create an atmosphere that wasn't necessarily unique, but was unique for the people, that regardless of where they come from, their gender, their religious background, their sexual preference, whether, I mean, they have to pretty much like pizza. I'm pretty much stern on that. After that, it's like what I have found, regardless of how different we are, wherever we come from, the pathways that we take to intertwine, even if it's for a brief period, we have so much more in common than we're really different. And I wanted a place where people felt like they were part of something, a part of a team and a part of family. And it's one of those things that it's really cool to see when you do this for a long time like I have, that things come full circle. And you don't realize sometimes, now just because I said it and it came to fruition doesn't make me special. It is something that I learned. It's not something that I created. And it's like the gym or our family. You get out of it what you put into it. And so my hope is for people like Eric people like Frank, and certainly for people like Grant, you know, that no matter how hard I've been on them or how much I needed them or whatever the case may be, that they always feel like it comes full circle. And so, to finish Frank's story, he said that after he competed, he tried to pay me. Now, I don't remember him trying to pay me, but I do remember saying something to him, and he said this when he was telling his story, that I told him to pay it forward, that there will be people that will need your help, that will need whatever, some guidance. You know, sometimes somebody just needs an arm around the neck and you don't even have to say a word. They just need to know that, hey, someone's looking out for me. And so hopefully all this, you know, as I'm emotional and have jumbled the stories a little bit, always be willing to pay it forward. God is going to put people on your path, and sometimes it's going to be a real annoyance. It's not going to be convenient, and it's probably going to be a pain in the ass. And I'm going to tell you, Grant has been a pain in my ass, but I love him like he's my own. And I've seen him grow up to be a great young man, and I'm super excited. You know, I worry just like a parent, you know, like, is he going to do good? You know, is he going to do the right thing? And I think that's what all of us do. But what Grant knows, the beauty of all that, is he's got a mom and dad and a sister and a group of family and people that really care about him. But he also has a team family, you know, in another town, you know, that he's part of. And we're rooting for him. We're here to support him, you know, that he can call on us, and, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, my home is open to all of them, you know, at any time that they need me. So understand that if what I'm trying to tell you today, if you feel like I have touched your life, which has always been a goal of mine to have a positive impact, that, you know, I have some of you guys, you know, are clients that are part of Team Ogre, you know, and you pay a fee for that. But I hope you feel like you take away more than just what you pay a fee for. And the moral of that story is that there's going to be people that are going to be put on your path. And I believe God does that. And I'm not one of these people that feel like God spoke to me and I heard him say. I've never heard that. And if somebody has, then, you know, bless them. That's really cool. But what I will tell you is, I know the proverbial tap on the shoulder, and I know what's being asked of me when somebody comes to the gym and is in need, or just somebody that messages me online. And the question is, and it's always the same, Wade, if it's not you, then who? And so what I hope is that hearing some of these stories and seeing how things do truly come full circle, that it burdens you to pay a debt, to pay it forward to someone that showed you kindness and generosity, that you, therefore, when that person comes into your life, because sooner or later it's going to happen, that you are burdened and willingly give of yourself. Because the most precious things that we give is of ourself, and even more so our time, because we don't, once it's given, it's gone. So that's what I hope you take away from this, that you know, we're all blessed with talents and abilities, and that you use those to make an impact. You know, we're like a grain of sand, you know, like a drop of water in the ocean, and our time here is very short in comparison to the expanse of what this is. So if your why is to make $1 million, then go out there and knock that out. I'm never going to make $1 million, but I hope that when my time is done, that I am measured not by my powerlifting career, but by an example of doing everything I could to be the best that I could, and being measured by, was I a good dad, even though I made a bunch of mistakes? Was I a good partner, even though I make a bunch of mistakes? Was I a good friend? Was I a good coach? Was I a good mentor? Those are the things that people are going to remember, and those are the things that have real impact. Nobody's going to give a shit in 20 years, well, they don't now, that I squatted some weight. It's just, or that I won some meet. But they are going to remember how you made them feel. They're going to remember that moment of triumph for them that you shared with. And that's one of the joys for me as a coach and an athlete, is seeing the realization of a goal that someone once not only thought improbable, but likely was impossible. And there have been so many, whether it be an IPF World Championship or simply being able to lift and be healthy. And all those things are 1,000-pound squat to me. So anyway, I hope you find a blessing in this, and love to Eric Smith for all you've done for me. Love to Frank and his lady Leslie. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you guys, and look forward to seeing the path that this takes you down, both in your powerlifting careers, but more so in your relationship. And love to Grant. Best of luck, and know that you're always welcome in our home. Everybody have a blessed day.